Hey Chatty Patty, welcome back to the media chat room where the celebrity headlines are talking. So here's a continuation to some of the videos that we've been covering about your girl Monique. Now lately, her and her son Shalon have been in the media because he wanted to address his relationship with his mom that she spoke of on the Club Shay Shay show. Now that first video went viral, and I believe it's because no one had ever heard from him. And just to be clear, that was not her first time speaking about him publicly in their strained relationship. However, it was the first time that he addressed it. Now that he casually walked into the spotlight, people are able to get more information about him. In such a short time period, I've learned his last name is definitely not Jack. He actually appeared in the episode of The Parker. There were actual times that he lived with his mother. He does not want his mother to be villainized. Sugar Daddy Uncle Sidney is not the cause for him and his mom having a strained relationship. It was actually very much strained before Sidney entered the picture. And he's actually really proud of his mom and all that she accomplished. He discussed all that on the TikTok live where he discussed Q&A. And I'm about to be like Monique for a second and say, in my humble opinion, this adds another layer of insight into their relationship and even more context for the type of mom Monique actually was. Now, the actual video was over 40 minutes, but you know your girl hooked you up. I went through and edited to a lot of just Monique questions. But if you do want to see the full interview, check out the link in my description for Tough Podcast YouTube channel. Now, it's time to dive on in and get to the good stuff. But before we do, I need you to like and share this video with everyone that you know. Then subscribe to the channel so that you can become an official Chatty Patty lover, and I promise you're going to love it here. And last but not least, turn on your notification bell so that you know when we drop our next video or go live. So I told you Shalon ended up responding to text messages that his mom Monique released. I already covered this story, so make sure you head to the description box to check it out. But after releasing the video, he ended up going live and taking some questions and answering them. And I actually thought that was a good idea. The questions and answers that he addressed paints a different picture of Monique. He even acknowledges her as being a person that raised him, along with the help of others. Of course, because she wasn't home on a consistent basis. But it sounds like he has a lot of memories with his mom. Now, Chatty Patty, here's where the problem lies. There's very much so a detachment issue. And much of that probably came about because she wasn't so nurturing due to the lack of presence and the trauma that she continued to carry around. On top of her statements of saying she was not interested in being a mother. And that interest level never seemed to have shifted despite her getting kicked out of Hollywood. And internally, he probably felt that that would have sparked some type of change because she no longer has to chase being the superstar. However, she was still chasing being Monique because she still wants to be Monique. I mean, ultimately, that's what this whole fight is about between her, Oprah, and Tyler. But one thing that came out of her being kicked out of Hollywood was her not having to sacrifice motherhood and career like she had to do with Shalon. And again, that detachment issue coupled with a whole lot of other things consistently shows disinterest. So one can believe he probably feels like he was a mistake, almost as if he was a burden because he got into the way of her career. And she has yet to make him feel otherwise. Now we're about to go ahead and get into the TikTok video. But y'all pay attention to him talking about his mom and his daughter. I believe although he's hurting for him, he's also hurting for his daughter, because that was going to be the moment where she can re-enter into his life and connect with him on a parenting level. But she continues failing to show up, in addition to her calling herself a grandmother happily to somebody else's kid, and yet you still have a lack of desire to show up for your own. In their first response to the Club Shay Shay interview, out of all his mom's kids, he is the only one who have a child. However, she posts pictures on her Instagram stating she's doing things with her grandbaby. Now, Chatty Patty, we still trying to figure out this whole family dynamic. So if you know who these grandbabies belong to, please let me know in the comments. Now let's check out the video.
My mother had been saying what she's been saying about me for years. I don't say anything. I almost think I don't want to say non-existent, but nobody knows who I am, right? Nobody knows who I am, okay? My mother doing interviews and referencing me isn't uncommon. That's something that I'm used to. D.L. Hughley, when I watched his response video, that was the first time I'd ever heard somebody refer to me. And that's what a lot of people missed. Everything that DL said was very similar, if not the same, to what was already said to my knowledge. The only thing that was new that he had referenced was me. But nobody would know that unless you knew that. But then I go back and watch the Club Shay Shay interview, the snippet at least, where she speaks about me. To be honest, I don't typically like to keep up with things that are going on with my mother. I'm very proud of her and always happy for her and the things that she accomplishes, but it's like a weird constant reminder. When I saw the Club Shay Shay snippet and heard how she referred to our dynamic as strained, to have expressed that is what I would, let's call it triggered, for lack of a better term. And that's when all of those dominoes took place. Are we able to call each other? Technically, yes. I don't have my mother's number saved in my phone. I'm not a victim of anything. I don't see my experience as traumatic. There were some very awesome things that I did get to experience. Like, to be completely honest, there were some really cool things that I did get to experience. Though I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to Switzerland. Didn't want to go. The experience was incredible. Just being somewhere different in the atmosphere, hearing another language, it was just all very unique. Getting opportunities to, my mother, did take me to Hawaii for my birthday one year. And those moments like that meant so much to me, because if there are 365 days in a year, I can literally count on one hand how many of them I may have felt that actual connection or bond. Those experiences still exist nonetheless. The one thing that I'm super grateful for in terms of my mom is a lot of people don't have the opportunity to see what the top of a mountain looks like. As I stated prior, they don't know what hard work and dedication looks like. And I appreciate my mother for, whether she was conscious that she was showing it to me or not, I appreciate her for doing what she did. Because now I feel like I don't have an excuse. I don't feel like, I had a bad childhood, all I wanted to do was put context to something. What is it that you're looking for from this? Well, okay, so it's a two-part answer. If you were to ask me that question when I originally posted my video, the answer was honestly nothing. Outside of these 3 videos, my TikTok profile is myself, my daughter, and my girlfriend. And I don't, see why I would change from that. Do I think my mom is a narcissist? No, I don't think my mom is a narcissist. I think that my mom is what a lot of people were stating, is that my mom is hurt. It's not up to me to define whether or not she is actually hurt. So I guess what I will say is, I say it like this. My mother has experienced trauma, and my mother has experienced hurt and pain. And when a person goes through those things, yeah, it can change you a bit. On top of that, when you also are famous, that also adds to it. I think oftentimes, man, people think that because these people are famous or that they're celebrities, to some degree they're immune from mental illness. I wish there was a better word than illness. I don't like that word. I don't like saying it like that. I don't like saying that I have a mental illness. But I guess essentially that's what it is. I feel like people compare your mom to the character she played in Precious Fair. My mother is not Marion Jones. The first time I had watched Precious, I was with my mom, actually. We watched it in her living room. And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed the entire time. Not because I was laughing at it, but because I'm not an audience member. This is my mother, so to see her, to watch her be the way that she was being was comical to me, because I could remember when she originally brought it to my attention that she was going to play the character, and she had me read a snippet of the book, and I was like, who are you supposed to be playing? And she was like, the mom. I was like, okay. But that was because I was so used to her doing comedy roles. I wasn't, and it wasn't by any means, it wasn't that I didn't think she could do it. That wasn't it at all. It was just, I was so used to seeing her be funny. But no, my mother is not Marion Jones. She's not Marion Jones. I don't think she really expected me to say anything. When she spoke of me, the normal pattern is I don't say anything at all. Well, what made you honestly feel differently? Because I'm a dad. I have a daughter, and I felt like what she said was false, and that's all. I wanted to address it. You know, like that's really it. Who raised you until you were an adult? A lot of people. But no, I kind of moved around a lot. Excuse me. Let's retract. I moved around a lot. So I lived in Texas. I lived with my father up until I was 17. I then moved here to North Carolina. I lived in Georgia. But I would say that, I mean, my parents, like I had a house that did have parents. So I can't give off I don't want to give off the impression that there weren't people that raised me. But I mean, it was a multitude. It was people. Part of the reason why I speak the way that I do, if not all of the reason why I speak the way that I do, it's a two-part reason. Growing up, watching my mom do award shows, I would sit backstage. I never liked sitting in the audience. I would sit backstage and I would watch how she could read the teleprompter really good. And there were times when it would just go really, 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 really fast. And I learned that you had to learn how to articulate your words, or you had to learn how to enunciate your words. My father is an incredible journalist. And he's very big on vernacular. Have you observed your family being abusive to your mom? No. Not at all. I haven't observed that. What I can say, from a son standpoint, right? And that being my mother. Uncle Sidney, and I'm going to address properly why I call him Uncle Sidney. When Uncle Sidney came into my mother's life, if I remove how it made me feel, on the outside looking in, it did seem like my mother was happy. I watched my mom move differently. And as a man now, looking back on it, I understand that was his doing. Regardless of how I feel about him, he's not my husband. He's not my husband. It's not his job to please me or make me happy. My mother's weight was an issue. And when my mother had even expressed that he had expressed to her that he said something along the lines of, I want you to be here for a really long time. Could I sit here and say, well, I should have been important enough for my mother to do that? Man, yeah, but that's corny. But the fact that he did, inspire that, there were things that did take place. When I remove, like I said, my emotion from it, I can't villainize. I don't want to villainize either one of them. I don't. I don't want to villainize them. I can still remember Baltimore like it's yesterday. I still remember the drive from Baltimore across the country to California. I can still remember coming home from school and my mother had tears coming down her face, and I said, Ma, what's wrong? And she said, I got the part. And I said, for what? She said, how she worded it, because the Parkers wasn't set in stone yet. It was something like to play something in a pilot role. And I was like, oh, okay, word. I didn't really, and for a long time as a kid, it never really dawned on me who and what my mother actually was. But then, like I said, we weren't in California for very long until when that moment happened. We were at Canoga Park Apartments. We left from those apartments. We moved into a one-story house around the corner. And we went from that one-story house around the corner to the two-story house around the corner. She went from that two-story house around the corner to her first $1 million house. And I still remember it like it's yesterday. I just don't like the narrative. But I don't know if I can cuss on here. But I'm effing proud of that woman. I am. I really am proud of my mother. I just didn't like that narrative. That's all. But damn, yo, like, I can see why she gets frustrated oftentimes with how the industry may respond. Like, I was a stand-up comedian. I got my own show. Then I hit movies. I hit the ground running. I co-star, I think, in my first major film. And out the gate, I win an Oscar, which I think it was a weird moment. But I think that is like that's I'm gonna sound like a corny nerd. That's a fucking Xbox achievement. That dead ass is an Xbox achievement. To have done it the way that she did, and it is a salute. And to make it about black women for a second, because I do have a daughter, salute to her. But salute to her though. Like, Queen of Comedy, Academy Awards. I think she got a Golden Globe, I think. NAACP Awards. To me, the NAACP Awards are just as, if not more, impactful than anything else. I think I went with her twice. The visual of it, I enjoyed seeing that amount of people of color being held to that type of status was like super unique. So why not make amends? Here's the thing. As I stated, when it comes to my mother and I feel as though my mother lacks a certain level of humility, compassion, and consideration. My mother has the resources to get in contact with me. It's not like I'm impossible to get in contact with. As a man, I have a family. I love my mother. But I also have to acknowledge that my mother also has other sons that she also has to raise. They also require the need of a mother. So make amends, to me, my mother used to say to me an expression along the lines of, when you close your eyes at night, essentially meaning like, as long as you feel good when you close your eyes at night. If my mother and I both close our eyes every night feeling okay, then that's enough for me. That feel as though that's enough. So what about your daughter? My daughter will know who my mother is. My daughter will know who my mother is. But my daughter also very much so she has two loving, active grandmothers. She has two loving and active grandfathers in her life. These four people want to be in Sanai's life. They want to be there. And that's important to me. They want to be there. I just wanted to be there regardless of money. So, because it was never about money. I wasn't complaining. I don't feel entitled to money. I'm not on stage telling the jokes. I'm not in the scenes acting. You know what I'm saying? So, what money? You know what I mean? Does your mom support you financially? No. But like I said, to be fair, she did give me the $10,000 for the down payment on my car. I know some people would say, well, what kind of car is that for a $10,000 down payment? A Kia Rio. The $10,000 down payment allowed me to have a lower car payment. What's my girlfriend think of my mom? There's no animosity or ill will or hate. Like, nobody's mad at anybody. Like, the focus in our home is my daughter. Was it a strained relationship before her husband came in the picture? Yes. To put it in proper context, I think that there are some individuals who say, I do what I do because I want to provide a better life for my family. And then I think there are some individuals who say, I do what I do because I want to be a star. That is my mother. To be fair, that does not villainize a person. It doesn't villainize somebody at all. But when you do have a child, once you birth a child, it's fine to still say, I want to be a star. But why not still say that, but maneuver in the name of I want to do this because I have a child now. Now I have an extra motivation to do this. Her mom admitted she made mistakes. The admissions and all of those things, that was never the point of me saying anything. Where did you calling Sid? Oh, I was supposed to address that earlier. So I've known Uncle Sid for a while. Like, I've known him, they're correct. I have known him since I was a boy. Like, he once lived with us when we were still in Baltimore, way before my mother was famous. But they were friends. So I've always referred to him as Uncle Sid. Always. Like, always. I've never not referred to him as Uncle Sidney. I call him Uncle Sidney because I've known that they were best friends prior to them dating and getting married. Was it weird to me in the beginning? Yeah, because call that man Uncle Sid. So a lot of people keep asking, it seems, is there a chance for reconciliation? I still refer to my mother as Mommy. If my mother was standing right here in my doorway, I would say, hey, Mommy, I love my mother. And I'm only looking up because I'm trying to keep myself together. But I love my mother. And I can remember the first time that I saw my mother in Sinai. My little girl had a dance recital. And everybody was sitting down. And Sinai, she wouldn't sit down. And she looked out. Excuse me. She looked out into the audience. And she was so unafraid. But she was so intrigued by what she saw. And Miss Cheryl, shout out to the dance company, she was trying to get Sanaa to sit down because she was talking. And Sanaa just wouldn't sit down, kind of all out in front of everybody else. And all I could see was my mom. I couldn't see anything else. All I could see was my mother. That moment didn't make me feel bad. It was a bittersweet moment. I apologize up front if what I am going to say makes me sound selfish. For a mother to state that you weren't interested, I just want you to give the same effort that you gave to being Monique into wanting to be my mom. That's all. That's why it was bittersweet, because I could see you. Man, I done seen my mother do some incredible things. I really have. The Beyonce dance, I can remember going to them rehearsals. And I think that's why I saw her. I just want my mother to want it, if that makes sense. But I have to be okay if that's not the case. So, as Sanaa's father, I mean, yeah, I gotta make sure that my baby girl knows where she comes from. I think the one thing that's lost in a lot of this is I genuinely miss my mom. There's a, and I hate to say it like this, but there's a version of my mom. There's this way that she can be with me that I really do enjoy. But then there's this way that she can be with me that, as Ron Burgundy said, it cuts to the core of me, Baxter. But reconciliation, I won't say no, is the way that I will approach that. God works in such a mysterious way. Do I think that my mother and I could sit back and bust out laughing that this moment in time happened as she holds my daughter? Man, sure. But it is what it is. It's gonna sound like I'm defending them. From the outside, yeah, it comes off like he puts a spell on her. And even I addressed it. It does come off like my mother is not competent, or I don't know, I guess maybe capable is the word, at speaking on her own. And that's something that does bother me about our relationship dynamic. But I don't think it's as deep as a spell.
Now, after watching this video, I actually feel like there's hope for them to rekindle things. But it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort. If you paid attention to the video, you can see that he loves, admires, and cherishes his mom. He just wants that to be reciprocated. Not just through the actions of money so that you can pay me off, but through time and connection. And right now, if she wants any type of chance with her son, she needs to work on building that trust and relationship with his daughter. Because at this point, she is the most important thing to him. And he truly desires that for his daughter. But he's not going to force it, because there's just too many willing parties who have a genuine love for her. Now, Chatty Patties, it's time to hop in those comments. Let me know if this video added any more context to understanding their struggle relationship. Do you think the detachment issue that she has with him is trauma related? Or after seeing this video, do you feel that she did the best that she could trying to be a mom while pursuing her dreams? Now, Chatty Patties, was it just me, or did your eyes get a little watery when he was talking about his daughter possessing some characteristics like his mom? Do you have any additional thoughts and opinion about Monique and Sidney after he's added some more context to their relationship? This one's gonna be a good one, Chatty Patties, so I want to know all your thoughts. So make sure you hop in those comments right now, because we're gonna talk about it. And before you go, make sure that you like and share this video with everyone that you know. Also, hit the subscribe button so that you can become an official Chatty Patty lover, and I promise you're gonna love it. And last but not least, turn on your notification bell so that you know when we drop our next video or go live. Now, you already know how I do it. First thing first, I'm headed straight to the comments to see what you had to say. Then it's back to getting into the headlines so that I can bring you all another video. So that's gonna be all for now, and until next time, bye bye.